for someone who is not the owner of the business, someone who is simply working in the business. Mr. Chair.
I call the Honourable Member Dr. Jackie Blue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased to speak to part 2 of this bill, which relates to the penalties and regulations and an infringement notice scheme. In the committee, we've made a number of amendments to the penalties regime, and that includes raising the maximum fine, which is quite significant, and there are details about an expanded infringement notice scheme. The interesting thing is that currently, if cigarettes or tobacco are sold to a minor, the fine was about $2,000, but the reality was quite revealing that the average fine was usually only about $300, really quite a small amount when considering what had happened. So we, as previous speaker mentioned, we had a number of submissions and ranges of where we should be pitching the fine, and we did settle on a fairly higher amount, quite a significant fine. The fine we decided should be up to $5,000 for an employee, while a body corporate would be fined up to $10,000, and these aren't insignificant amount of money. I think they send a very strong message to people thinking they might want to sell to a minor that it's going to cost them, and it'll cost them dearly in the pocket. Mr. Speaker, there's also an amended infringement notice scheme where if there's a failure to display health warnings at the point of sale or selling over the internet without the appropriate warnings or information about purchase age, that there will be an infringement notice given. There's also regulation making powers that have been provided so that the Minister there can be regulations made from time to time as seen fit about display of notices and about health information. Mr. Chair, in part 1 I mentioned about the prisons have gone smoke free. It's been day 13, it's gone very well. And also spoke about the fact that the increase in tobacco excise had made a huge difference in the number of people accessing quitline and taking nicotine replacement therapies, and that was doing a huge improvement of smoking. And I think the penalty, it's important to have a strong and a robust penalty scheme. There's no point having a law that says you can't sell to minors and not follow up with something that's a fairly strong message, and this Part 2 certainly does that, and I'd like to commend this bill to the House.
Thank you.